What I have gone ahead and done is whipped up a Laravel project using the React Starter Kit. So I have the basic authentication set up as well as whatever the defaults are for any of it, which does include React. It includes ShadCN components. It includes Tailwind. It includes basic things like that. We will take a look at the code in a moment. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to show you where I got the template that we're going to be using from. Now, this is where I got that template from. It's from tailwindtoolbox.github.io. And this is what it looks like now if you click on any of the links in it. This isn't what's downloaded to my computer. This is directly what's on the site. And it's got a few links that actually work in here, but the pictures don't show up because these pictures no longer exist where they were coming from. I believe they were coming from Unsplash, and they've been changed or removed or whatever the call is. Whatever it is, it's just not here anymore. But as you can see, it does have some cool little things in it, as well as the subscription box. And let's go back to the previous page. It also has a view page that has some styling on it. The pictures in here are a little bit better, as well as the name and stuff. And that's where I got this stuff from. Now, there are some things that I didn't include in our project. One of the things that I did not include was this sort of drop down thing. It uses Tippy.js, I believe, and I didn't include that. We just have a very basic one. Some of these things, if you would like me to show them to you, then maybe that's something we can work with as well. And also, I didn't set up any kind of subscription. So for emails and stuff like that, I didn't quite set up. But if that's something that you want to see, then that's something that we can add as well. Just let me know in the description down below. I just wanted to let you know what I definitely didn't do. And if you would like to see it, then we can. There's some things I can be accommodating on. They just won't be the very next video, but I'll include them at some point in the series. We want to kind of get this template into our project and have that be on the welcome page. Now, something that I've been doing with these projects, and I think you guys have found kind of useful, is including a project folder that has our assets. So any images that we have, any templates that we're using, I've put them in these HTML files so that you can take a look and, kind of go through it or click out and see what it looks like. And what I did was I took the files from that Ghostwind template and I sort of refactored them to either make them look a little better or to just kind of get them a little bit more presentable. The site is good, the template's good, but there are some things that are just a little off about it because what I try not to use is like relative and absolute, whether I'm dealing with a navigation or a footer and something that I wanted to be sticky or something like that. So I don't really use relative. It has to be a very specific use case to use relative. And sometimes people use it throughout the pages on their projects, and it makes it hard to kind of reconfigure the CSS to not do that and still have the same effect. But it is what it is. What I did was I created these pages. So we have an index, and that's going to be for our welcome. I have our post, which is going to be not only for our post pages, but also for each individual user. They can click that My Post link, and it's going to be the exact same layout. So that's why there's only one of these. And then there's the one post, which is going to have the singular post that has the entire post with the title, the body, and all that stuff for that one particular post. So that's what I did here. Now, I also created a folder here just so that we can grab photos as we're dealing with the FilePon stuff. We'll have just some quick images to drag in. All of the images I got are from Pixabay. I've kind of stopped using Unsplash. I'm not feeling the layout of their webpage, and it's really disorienting for me to go over there and pick out images and use them like I used to use them. I just started using Pixabay for pretty much everything at this point. I may go back and forth, I don't know, but for this project in particular, everything is coming from Pixabay. And these are the actual file names that came from the downloads. So you can go and find them and find the artists and all that stuff. Now, there's also one picture I did here. This is the background image that came from the template itself, and that's something that we're going to be using as well. So before we go any further, let's go ahead and start filling out our welcome page and get that set up so that we can start displaying stuff. I'm going to go ahead and grab this whole thing in here. One more thing that I did want to show you is that I did create components out of some of these. Here, everything is just kind of written in long form. We'll adjust that when we get ready to use it. But as for now, they're in the long form for this file. This file will be included in the code as well as comments and a description. I'll give you the link. What I'll do is I'll upload this whole file to my Google Drive. There won't be a password or anything on there. You can just go ahead and download it anonymously. I'll have no idea who did it. And this way you'll have the assets that we are using for this project. There's going to be a link to that. But if you are a member, you'll have this as a separate folder within the code itself. Once it's done, same thing. This whole folder will be in the code, but for everyone generically, you can just download the zip file once it's done. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that. And then we are going to head into our code. Well, actually, before we do that, let's take a look here. We have views app.blade.php. And as you can see, it has the entry point for inertia. Before we even do that, I also want to show you that I am using Laravel Framework 12.0. These are the versions for everything that we're using, so you know exactly where I am. This way, if you're watching this video and we are on Laravel 20, right, you'll know exactly which version I'm using here, so you'll know what to adjust for whatever you need, as well as the package.json. These are the versions of everything that I'm using, and once you have access to the code, you'll be able to see this no matter what. So let's go ahead to our JS folder here, because here is where all of our React pages are. Now, if I come down to welcome, you can see that page that we initially looked at that has the link and the Laravel stuff already set up. Now, before I do that, I want to create a controller so that we can display this from the controller versus how we are doing it now, which is just returning the view right in here. This can register home stuff. I want to put it in a controller. So let's go ahead and create the controller first so that we can take care of that. I am going to go ahead, and I don't have another one open, so I'll do this. Do PHP artisan, make controller, and I'm not going to put it in a specific folder or anything, so I'll just do welcome controller. Because we don't have any models really associated with this as of yet, I am not going to attach it to a model, but what I am going to do is I'm going to make it invocable. And what that's going to do is it's just going to make it a controller for one specific route instead of either a blank one or a route that has a list of all of the available functions in it. Go ahead, press enter. Now that that's done, let's go back to the code and we'll go up to HTTP controllers. There's our new controller. And as you can see, we have the invocable function here. Let's go and refactor that web route so that we can include that. And now I'm just going to say welcome controller class. And I don't need to put a specific function on there because this is an invocable controller. We're going to use the same name, which is home. And there's no middleware on this. There's no anything on here. I do need to import that. Let's see if it's recognized here yet. It's not. I can do use app HTTP controllers, welcome controller. Save that. And now we can grab this and add that to the welcome controller. Let's go and clean that web route up too so that I do not forget that it still has this in here. And we can also get rid of the features in here. Now, as I was working on the project, actually took me several months to put together because, like I said, I was having some health issues. And in that time, Laravel has replaced Ziggy with Wayfinder, and it has included Fortify in the starter kits so that we have their authentication, which is actually pretty good because I really do like using Fortify. What that does is it allows for the default authentication to also have two-factor and just the other things that it was kind of missing. That's just a side note on that. But let's go back to the welcome controller and then let's clean this up. We need to import the inertia. And this features, we're going to import that as well. It is Laravel Fortify features. Right now, we don't have a request, and we're actually not going to be using a request for this because it's just going to be rendering a page with some information on it. And as far as the return type, I'm just going to be using a response. And so that's good. So if we just save this, then everything should be good on this page because the page is already set up and we just changed what it's pointing to in the web routes. Okay, so refresh. And as you can see, everything is still the exact same. We haven't changed anything yet. Now, before we put any of the template in there, I do want to clear out this welcome thing here. I'll keep the head, and I am going to get rid of the header and all this stuff in here. This stuff is pretty much the same. Let's go ahead and grab that template, and then we can put it in here and then adjust it accordingly. Remember, this was everything in here, so I'll just shrink this so that it's a little bit easier to grab. Copy that. And then here we can just come under the head here and paste everything in there. I definitely broke something, but it's okay. We'll fix it along the way. As you can see, we have a lot of corrections in here. And mainly a lot of that has to do with because HTML uses classes for their HTML, whereas React uses class names. So we can actually change that all at once, or most of them at once. Let me just go up top here. And I want to be as close to the top as possible before I do this. I'm using NeoVim, obviously. And so how I'm going to do that is just :%s/. And what that's going to do is whatever we type in here, it's going to look for it in the document. So wherever there's a class, we can now change that to class name. Hopefully that grabbed everything. There are going to be a few other things in here too. But like I said, we got rid of a lot of the X's. So we have can register, just go through them one by one. Nav. There's stuff in between. I might have left one of these, one of those. I will fix that in the file before I post it up to Google Drive. Let's see where else we might have an error. We might be good. Yeah, we're good. I know it's probably going to look janky, but I want to see what we have now. We need our background image, which we'll do in a moment. And we are using the same picture, and I did that intentionally. But everything else is pretty good here. Are we going to have a bunch of errors in this series? Yes, of course we are. Are we going to learn a few things? Yes, of course we are. Am I going to make a ton of mistakes and beg for help? Yes, I absolutely am. That's just the way we do things around this channel, right? So let's go and deal with this background image first before we do the links. Our background image is being displayed. It'll be in a URL thing here. So it's images defaults cover.jpg. We need to first bring that image into our project before we can do anything else. I actually want them to be in our storage app public folder. And if I open that up and make it visible, as you can see, there's nothing here. We don't have it yet. So this is our project folder here. I am going to open up our storage folder, app, public. And now from our folder here, I can create a new folder and we'll call it images. Create a new folder and call it defaults. And now that'll be where we put that image. Probably make that shorter. I'm going to copy this one and paste it here. We have it in our project. Let's go back to it. And because I'm just using Pop! OS and the default terminal, I'm not actually going to be seeing anything worthwhile in this. I am switching to Alacrity. I'm actually doing a massive change on this system that I have. But, you know, my brain doesn't like to believe that my body can't do everything at once. So it's going to be a minute before I do it. But that is a plan coming up in sometime in the future. So let's go to the welcome view. And now let's point it to the correct thing. So now instead of point, it'll be storage, images, defaults, cover. Save it. Now we still are not seeing this image. And as I said, I did a default installation of the Laravel React Starter Kit. We're seeing our other images, but we're not seeing that one. But that's because we're calling this from the HTTPS. These images aren't being called from our project. If we take a look here, and we go back to our storages, you can see we have it in storage, app, public, images, defaults, cover. Now, from my terminal, you can see it's kind of faded out, which means it is a hidden file within this because that's just the way my NeoVim is set up. Now, if we go up, because we have it in the public folder, we want it to be able to be publicly seen. And anything that's an asset coming from our project that we want to publicly be seen, it has to have some sort of a link to this public folder right here. And as you can see, we do not have that. That's because there's one command that I have not run that I do need to run in order for this to work. So I'm going to come to this terminal here, and I'm going to do PHP artisan storage link. And as you can see, it has created a link from the public storage folder to the storage app public folder, and that's what we needed. If you come back here, you can see that now we have that storage images default cover.jpg, and it is matching up with what we have in our storage folder. So now we should be able to see that. Go ahead, refresh, and there we go. There's our image, just looking as fantastic as it could look. Now, the last thing that I want to work on for today is I want to do something about these links here. We have a dashboard, login, register, home. Now, the dashboard should only be accessible if we're authenticated, and the login and register should be accessible if we're not authenticated. This is going to be a public page. It's not going to be hidden behind middleware. With the defaults, you saw that there was a login and register button up here because anyone can access that page. It's not hidden behind middleware, and that's what we want to replicate here. So let's go and do that in the code. Two things are happening here. We have the can register, which is going to basically be the question mark. If this user can register, if that equals true, then we show one thing. If it's not true, then we show something else. We have the auth type in here, which is using the shared data type. And these things are what's bringing our authenticated user from the backend to the front end. It's coming from inertia and it's being received in the front end. If we go up to middleware, handle inertia requests, you can see here that this is returning the auth user to the front end using this share, and that's what we're seeing. That auth user is being pushed to the front end so that we can check against it and show those users certain things or not show them certain things. Now, the other thing is, since we're using TypeScript, let me hide some of these. We can close this one. If we come here to types, you can see that there's an index.ts. And in here, we have an interface that has the auth, and then that auth is using the user type. If we come down a little bit, you see this is where the shared data is, which is our name, the auth user, a quote, and some other things for the front end, including sidebar open, just different things to interact with the front end. There's another interface, which is a type for our user, where the user will have access to the ID, the name, the email, the avatar, if there is one, an email, all of these different properties on the user model. Those are things within the user model. If we come to the welcome view, as I said, we can use that auth and we can use this can register to show us certain things. Now, before we use the auth to do that, I want to put these links in somewhere. Now, as I said, Laravel has started using Wayfinder instead of Ziggy, which means that there's better TypeScript support for our routes. And as you can see here, dashboard, login, and register are coming from @/routes. If we go to not this routes, I need to unhide those again. This is the routes folder that it is referring to. And as you can see here, these names kind of match up with the things that we're looking for, right? If you come down to the index, there are specific ones that we can use, and they have TypeScript types associated with them using inertia. Login is the login route. It has a URL, it has a get, it has different functions and things associated with it. There's also the logout. These are routes that we can use. There's the register. I know I'm kind of going through it fast, but you'll be able to slow down and take a look at this within your own code. But the dashboard is also here, and this is where we're getting those routes. Let me go ahead, hide that back, and let's go ahead and make these links accessible before we cut them off based on authentication. So here, now we can do dashboard. And as I pull it up, you can see here what we're getting from that. So everything we just looked at in that routes folder. And then we put parentheses, and that will be included up top. These were already imported based on the welcome view that we deleted. The same thing for the login. And this is also going to be a link. And then this one will be register. Let's put the link first. Okay, so we have no errors up here, and these are all being acknowledged, so our routes are working as intended. Now let's go ahead and close them off based on the authenticated situation. So now we can say if there is an auth user And as you can see, as I'm typing this stuff out, I am getting snippets. Whatever text editor you're using or IDE or what have you, these snippets will really help you kind of understand what's going on, even if you may not exactly know what the logic is for it. So the first one, I'm going to just grab this, paste it here, straighten that up. And actually, I want to move it. If there's an auth user, then they can see the dashboard link. And if they're not, then they will have to suffer looking at the other links all by themselves. I want to do, can't remember what this is called. But basically, because you need some sort of outside element, because we're going to be putting multiple routes in here with multiple routes, you want to have this. I can't remember what it's called. It will come to me at some point, but as I said, I'm still learning this stuff. You're just going to have to be patient with me. Now, I am going to take the register and login links, and I'm going to put those within those. Now, of course, I have to look it up because even though I am learning, I should know this terminology, but these empty tags that we have here are called fragments. In order to explain this a little better, if you have ever used U2, if you're doing something in the template, you had to have a root element in the template. You couldn't just have these basically open up straight between the template tags. You had to have another div or a p tag, or mainly a div, to surround everything before you could add anything like this. And this is the same principle where you have a fragment, or you could put a div if you wanted to here, but that would affect styling. So a fragment is what it is. And that's what we're doing here. So we have our login route, we have our register route, and we also have this can register property that's coming in from the controller. We're using that from Fortify, I believe it was a Fortify feature. That can register is basically going to say if they can register, then we can show them the register. If it's possible that they can register, then they can register here. So we want to make another conditional for that. I'm going to open this up. We'll use that can register. We'll do and now we can paste in this list item and have that look like that. Save that. And let's go see what our buttons are doing now. We haven't logged in or anything, so now we can see our login, our register, and our home. And then we have posts, my posts, and create a post. If we are not authenticated, we shouldn't have a link to my post, and we shouldn't be able to create a post. Only authenticated users should be able to do either of these two things. Everyone can see posts, and that's fine. You can even, as an unauthenticated user, you can even go to a user and see their post, but you don't have access to my posts because you are not logged in. So let's go and account for those in our navigation as well. Well, this one will also be easy because since we have the auth user coming in from our shared data, we can just have something surrounding these two list items and fix that. I'm going to change this to a link as well before I forget. And they're not going anywhere yet because we haven't quite done that. But up here, surrounding those two, we can say auth user and then again, we want to open up another fragment. Could be because those are two different items with two different roots as their items. Paste that, put those right in there. And let me straighten this out. Auth user can see my post, create a post. Let's go back to our browser and see what we have next. Okay, so now those two routes are gone. If we were logged in, we'd be able to see them, and we can just do a quick test of that. I don't have a link here yet, but that's fine. I'll just do it manually. Go here. As you can see, we have dashboard. Then we have my post and create a post as well. If you're enjoying the content, please go ahead and click that like button as it really does help out the channel. Here's a video YouTube thinks you'll like, and here's a playlist to follow along. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.